because I was told in school that I would go to jail, repeatedly told to go to jail. And they were right, I did go to jail. So 9 out of 10 for them. But also, see, in the end, jail was wrong. Jail was wrong. They let me out. They should have kept with the game. The second time I got nicked, I thought, I'm not going to go back into detention, I'm going to go on a run. And I decided I would join the Foreign Legion, as 15-year-olds do. And I didn't know you could join in London, so I hitchhiked to Marseille. As a 15-year-old, I stole my brother's passport, and I hitchhiked to Marseille. And they were very nice, the Foreign Legion, to me. It was quite interesting how they allowed me in, and how they were very kind to me. And understanding, as a dyslexic young man trying to teach me French, they tried every single way they possibly could to teach me French. And they, you know, why can't you understand? Tell us why. And groups of them sitting around saying, why can't you understand? And trying to try all different ways. These weren't teachers or youth workers. These were troopers trying to bring me into their group, bring me into their world. And I think since then I've been interested in groups and tribes and teams and gangs. I mean, it's very popular at the moment, isn't it? And again, I ask lots of questions, and this talk's going to be all questions. And Eldridge Cleaver, you know, one of my favourite Black Panthers, actually said, you know, too much agreement kills the chat. So I shan't be giving you any answers from these questions, or if I do, it'll be a mistake. But why do we go on about gangs? What's the difference between a gang and a group? I'm working with a group. I'm working with a group of young people. Hi. I'm working with gangs. I'm down with the gangs. What's that difference between a gang and a group? I mean, a gang of kids I work with tend to be odd travellers, gypsies, and they're very well organised. You know, everything they do, good and bad. I mean, they're a very good team. Are they more of a team or a gang? And when does a group stop being a group and start being a community? A lot in our work and in our course, we say, well, we're going to educate the community. Well, what's the community? When is a group a group? One of the essays that we write in college, or the students write in college, says, a group is 2 or more people. Well, I never saw someone get married to somebody else and say, look at that group getting married. I didn't see 2 old ladies walk around along the road and, oh look, gang of old ladies. Why is it that a group of young men walking along the road are a gang, and a group of old age pensioners are not a gang of old age pensioners? These are, for me, these are interesting questions. Can a gang become a group? Can a group become a team? And how will we know? What makes a group come together? Why do a group come together? Why did these troopers come around me and try to bring me into their group? What we know about groups is, as long as you are useful to the group that you're in, as long as the group finds you in some way useful, they will work very hard to keep you in the group. And the moment you become not useful to the group, they will start to reject you. Likewise, if the group becomes less than useful to you, you will start to move away from that group. Simply, what do we know about these ideas? Well, what we have is a community. When I look at community, what you have is you have very set boundaries around some communities, the Harmish, West Ham supporters, those kinds of things. And it's very difficult for, if you've got these very hard boundaries to get in. I cannot turn up a Harmish knees up and say, just walk in. So when we talk about communities, what we see, the more that those boundaries are fixed, the less permeable they are, the more difficult it is for ideas and beliefs to get, and people to get in and out. When we see these groups, the communities are more permeable, as I've said up there, the ideas and beliefs tend to move a little bit more freely. Now, the interesting thing for us talking about working with or educating communities is you can see the logic of that is probably communities are not a good thing. The more that you're in a community, the more it's likely to be prejudicial and discriminating against people from the outside. You are not of my community. You're wearing the wrong hat and you've got the wrong beard. So, I'm sorry, until you've got the right hat and the right beard, you cannot come into my community. So, which community do I belong to? Which group? These are just some of the groups I belong. I'm an academic, I'm a Christian, I'm a gypsy, I'm a football supporter. Which community am I in? Which one are you going to work with? I'm also a sociologist. I'm a critic of informal education, which doesn't make me popular with lots of youth workers. My God, you're right, questioning informal education. We don't want people questioning things in youth work. We want young people to question. I'm a youth worker as well as an academic. I'm an author. I'm working with Roma kids as well. I'm a West Ham supporter. So did you work with me as a football supporter or as a West Ham supporter? It gets even more complicated. I'm an historian. I'm from East London. I'm from London. I'm from Plaistow. Anyone here from Plaistow? Anyone here from Newham? My hometown. All these things even with West Ham, I'm married to someone who's a gunner. My mother is a Millwall supporter. So where do I stand? How are you going to work with this community of mine? So I think it's complicated. We have these words, we're going to educate communities, we're going to work in the community. Where's the community? Even if I say I'm going to work in Newham, Newham's my community. There's 300,000 people in Newham. How are you going to educate them? How are you going to educate all those people? And it's just simply, how are you going to do this? Or even if you're a group, what group are you in? And how are you going to work with this? And once you say someone is in a gang, what does that do? Once I take it that you're in a gang, and I'm going to work with you as a gang member. I think this makes the world interesting because it puts a lot of doubt on some of the ideas we come across. I would say that what I would like to see people do is to move more towards, and I'm attracted to this idea of the Islamic idea of ummah. Now, what ummah suggests is that the whole world is part of a group, that everybody is in our equivalent to a community. There is no one outside. Everybody is potentially in. Now, that's a big jump for some of us because we're so keen to say who we are and where we stand. You know, and you can say this is a lad that ran away from home, this was a lad that got in trouble, this was a lad that shouldn't be a doctor, he shouldn't be standing here telling us how to do youth work. And we are so many things. We are so many things in life. So what I'd like to leave you with is another thought from another Black Panther, Angela Davis. And she said, the answer provokes the question. The answer provokes the question. So when you walk away, when you go from this door, I would quite like you, if you can just do one thing for me, is rather than look for the answer from me or from anyone else that stood on this stage today, is actually to find a question from what those people have said and what I've said. I should finish now. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Flush and Go Portaloo. And remember, when you go today, please flush. Thanks a lot. Thank you.